Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. It's another double upload kind of day, so if you want to see my other video, which is my fusion plan, how I plan to get Razelvarg, then check out my video posted earlier today. But for this one in particular, we're focusing on the summon rush going on right now, where we do have a 10x for some decrease speed champions. So we have the new Void Legendary, I think her name is Clydna. Somewhat underwhelming, but she is pretty well suited for the Sandel's Necropolis with a sleep on the A1, decrease speed and leech on the A2 without having to touch him, which is really nice. So no hits required or no hits placed. And then she also places block debuffs, which is good for his A1, and revive on death, which is good for his A3. Aside from her, we do have Stultus Dragonbane, who's one of the best defensive-based nukers in the game, great in Savage and or Stoneskin if you're one of those people. We have Lady Kimmy, one of my favorite champions in the game and one of the best speed turn meter manipulators as well. We have Countess Lix, somewhat underwhelming but a decent control champion who's great in a stun set and other CC type sets, who also has decreased speed. We have Tuhawk the Wanderer, who's a relatively decently hard-hitting epic, but somewhat still underwhelming. We have Lady Boobybell, who is great for soloing the Baumel, the Dreadhorn boss in Doom Tower. We have Rella, really reliable single-target debuffer, as well as one of the fastest epics in the game. And of course, the tried and true Stag Knight, one of the best epic debuffers in the game, with decreased defense and decreased attack. As I mentioned in my Fusion Plan video, I do plan to go for the 2150 here and not the higher milestone of the 4925 for the epic. And so you can see that I've pre-pulled some of the mystery shards, and I'm just going to be pulling 4 sacreds to get me to the 2150. There's a little bit of room because a little bit of min-maxing that I like to do is that there are 2 more game resets for me to go, and each day we always have that daily quest to summon 3 champions. So we have 6 or 3 times, or summoning 3 champions twice with mystery shards. So a little bit of min-maxing, so I don't need to pull more shards than I need to. And if we hop over to the portal here, we can look at the shard count we have for today. 379 on the ancients, we have 200 on the voids, and 55 pretty healthy amount of sacred shards. I've been fairly lucky this past week, a side note here, but I've been fairly lucky with the Demon Lord clan boss, and I think I've netted like 3 sacreds in the past week, so fairly lucky and basically paid for the summon rush to keep me above 50. As usual, I do like to show my mercy tracking spreadsheet that I use for myself as far as to know where I'm at relative to mercy, and if some of you follow the channel, you know that I am right back at 0. I got a legendary right on the last shard pulling for a Mishinaki a couple weeks ago, so we are fresh. So I don't expect to get anything except for 4 epics. Maybe we'll get lucky, but I'm not looking for anything in particular from this 10x. However, I will take a legendary if a legendary comes out. So focusing on the epics, and speaking of who I'd like, Duck the Pierced, once again, as always, the debuffer for Faction Wars. I've already beaten Faction Wars. I do have Lydia, but he would be a little bit more efficient and better at it than Zargala, who I have currently running at level 50. So Duck the Pierced, please, today's the day. I wouldn't mind, to be honest, I wouldn't mind Ruella or Stag Knight for Faction Guardian efficiency, just because I prefer to have champions in my Faction Guardians that I actually use or plan to use in the case of Ruella, because the Faction Crypt is not yet open. Aside from that, I'm looking for some Dark Elves to finish out that Faction Guardians, and any other Sylvan Watchers will help finish out that Faction Guardians as well. If we're really getting hopeful and a legendary pops out, I would love to see a Valkyrie or a Molly or a Zavia or an Elenril. So those are the champions on my wish list as always. So now let's get into the pulls. We've got some space, we've got the cash, and hopefully we get a little bit of that epic luck. So 4 sacred pulls, here we go. Starting off with number 1. Who are we going to get? It is Steel Skull. That is a dupe, but he is a pretty decent Faction Wars champion. I use him in mine. In particular, he has this little bit of healing on the A3, and it provides increased defense on a 14 cooldown, and the single target cleanse and heal by 40%. So pretty decent, or I think is defense and Faction Crypt. So pretty decent Faction Wars champion. You can run him at 50, and it will definitely help keep your team alive for the Skinwalkers faction. Next, Sacred, number 2. Who do we have? Another epic, and it is Gravedirt. Relatively underwhelming epic. I think he has a provoke on the A1, heal reduction on the A2, and then the weak version of Strengthened and a shield on the A3. Not really doing any favors. I think he has some weird fear mechanics on his passive, but yeah, not the most useful epic in the game. Moving on. Sacred pull number 3. Come on, Duck the Pierced, please. Nope. Kaden. Kaden is actually new on my account, believe it or not, but he does have this 2 random ally revive with 50% HP and increased defense. So if you do need some help in the Dark Elf Faction Crypt, at least keeping your team alive, then this is the guy. He does also have AoE decrease attack and a provoke on the A1. So a little bit of control, lots of support. And the final sacred here is going to be everything I've ever wanted, another epic, and it is the buffed Romero, who does have the A1 here, places continuous heal, weak version, places the big version of continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown, and you can steal 1 buff from each enemy, which is part of the buff. It used to just be the heal itself, maybe a little bit of a shield. Or no, the shield's on the A3. So now he provides a big shield and increased defense on himself. So Again, not a huge buff, but he's slightly better than before. And I think he has some passive where he does have an AoE when Juliana's on the team. Another, I guess, A4, one of the few champions that has 4 abilities, but companion skill there. So, as you'd expect, somewhat underwhelming from 4 Sacreds during a non-2x, but that is how it goes. Nothing from the wish list, unfortunately. Nothing from the 10x either, which is kind of surprising. So, that is the end of the shards. But of course, we're not done. We have the tradition of pulling the soul stones. And in this case, I was able to get and 1 immortal from a previous champion training event, and we have 30 mortals to pull as well. So let's see what we can get from these 30 mortals. Here we go. As usual, I do expect a bunch of rare. Supreme Aethel. Do not have her. So 1 legendary there, but we do not have her. Eothar, pretty decent poisoner for like old school clan boss teams. 4-star Vergis, I don't really use him, but 4-star Ugo. From the wish list. Okay, the wish list does exist, guys. It actually does work every once in a while, even though I've pulled, I don't even want to know how many soul stones. That is really good. 4-star Ugo. I'm going to put that on her immediately. Sweet. That I use a miracle heal on my Ugo for Hydra purposes, and that is a massive boost to, I think she's like a 1-star right now, so that's huge. Maeve, don't use her. Tagore, pretty decent epic, I guess. 2-star Kyoku is interesting. That's a free upgrade on her polymorph, so I will take that. Didn't have to pay however much essence that is. Runkeeper Dastark, I actually have a 6-star soul for him, even though I've never pulled him. A Void Epic, one of the many Void Epics I've never pulled. So 1-star is definitely useless. Arndolf, I don't even have him, so I'm probably not going to use that one. Last set of 10 for the Mortal Soul Stones. Who do we get? We have Urtikata, do not have. Marked, do not use. Bunch of rares. Suren, I think she's like a decreased attack, but not 100% chance for the Shadowkin Faction Wars. Another one off the wish list, but it's a 1-star on Frozen Banshee, which I believe she has already, so that's not exactly what we're looking for. So, hey, you know what? I'll take that. We got an upgrade for Ugo and an upgrade for Kyoku. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. But here we go. We got 1 Immortal Soulstone. Let's open that one as well. And this is where we get the 6-star Legendary Herndig Soul. Calling it. No, we get a 5-star Vildrax Soul. Okay. Definitely don't use him. He does have Hex, but when you have Mithral after, however many months of normal Hydra, you really don't need this guy. So, unfortunate. I might keep it, or I might sell that. I don't know. That's probably worth more sold in terms of coins, but we'll see. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the Soulstone Summons. Alrighty, so that's gonna do it for today's video. We pulled 4 Sacred Shards, and we got, it looks like, a couple of new epics. Romero is new, as well as who's the other one? Oops, clicked on the Skinwalkers. I think it was, wow, what's going on here? I think it was Kaden. Yes, Kaden. Kaden is also new. So 2 new epics on my account. Not that I'm going to use them, but they are new nonetheless. And of course, we did max out the Summon Rush. So we get all of these lovely juicy rewards. And then in a couple of days, couple of game resets, we will have the rare. So we're all good there. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys are participating in the fusion and if you're going for some of the champions offered here in the Summon Rush. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit that like button down below, and also feel free to hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.